Administration has opened a civil rights investigation, and I have asked the Attorney General and the Justice Department to expedite it. I understand the pain that people are feeling. We support the right of peaceful protesters, and we hear their pleas.
President Trump is working on an executive order to encourage more reforms. He says, quote, "We have to work together to confront bigotry and prejudice wherever they appear." The president has surrounded himself with key members of the administration to help improve police and community relations. Joining us from the White House is Jerron Smith, Deputy Assistant to the President and Deputy Director of the Office of American Innovation. What advice have you shared with President Trump in the wake of George Floyd's death?
I told the president that people were looking for some hope and unify the country, and that's what the president has done. He's implemented policy and direction for all of us at the White House to take a holistic approach.
What change does this executive order bring?
Sure. And so one of the biggest changes is that we bring HHS and DOJ together to incentivize and fund co-responder programs. We allow for social workers to join law enforcement and go on the beat, and it helps law enforcement deal with issues such as mental health, as well as drug addiction or homelessness. Another piece is the accreditation program. There are independent organizations that accredited or credential police departments with standards on use of force, standards on de-escalation training, and standards on how to create better police and community relationships. And most importantly, a database that collects cops who have bad records when it comes to use of force, and allowing for that information to be shared for between police departments, so that bad cops don't move from one police department after being fired and go to another one. And that's the focus of what the president envisions, and a way for us to create not only safer communities, but a more just system for all Americans.
Late last summer, about legislation that I thought would be very helpful to distressed communities. As you recall, I grew up in a single-parent household, came from one of the distressed communities, and we sat in these very chairs and had a discussion about opportunity zones and what it could mean for the future of this country. And within a couple of days, when you were on Air Force One, you were talking positively about this legislation. In part because of your serious support of this legislation, I was able to get it included in the tax reform package, and now we are sitting on opportunity. I think it's a gold mine for so many kids in so many communities that thus far have not had the access to opportunities. You're breathing in new hope into distressed communities around this country, and I want to say thank you for doing that.
Hello, my name is Scott Turner, and I have the very humble privilege of stewarding the White House Opportunity and Revitalization Council.
But Scott Turner is, he's a star, he's a young star. Go ahead, Scott.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and thank you for your leadership and giving me the opportunity to shepherd the White House Opportunity and Revitalization Council. You know, oftentimes you don't hear about the work of opportunity zones, but the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that the President signed into law in 2017 created the Opportunity Zone Initiative. And the President created the Opportunity Zone Council. And that council was made up to take 18 agencies, 15 federal and 3 state and regional partners, and move in a singular motion to direct resources into our most distressed, vulnerable, forgotten communities. And we've built tremendous coalitions, partnerships on the ground. We've been to over 60 cities. I've been to every one of them over the last year to visit people on the ground, education leaders, faith leaders, community leaders, business leaders, elected officials, Democrat and Republican. See, the thing about poverty, it doesn't care what party you are. And oftentimes you may not hear about this, but we sit at convenings such as this with all of these stakeholders at one table to have the hard conversations. What is the pain of the community? Why is the community distressed? And what can we do together, both black and white, Democrat and Republican, come together for the good of this community, for long-term sustainability, for generational impact, and become
of office I take today is an oath of allegiance to all Americans. At the bedrock of our politics will be a total allegiance to the United States of America. And through our loyalty to our country, we will rediscover our loyalty to each other. When you open your heart to patriotism, there is no room for prejudice. A new national pride will stir our souls, lift our sights, and heal our divisions. It's time to remember that old wisdom our soldiers will never forget, that whether we are black or brown or white, we all bleed the same red blood of patriots. For America to truly prosper, all of our communities must share in the gains. Together, we're bringing opportunity back to the places that need it most. We're honoring the allegiance to the hardworking men and women whose faith, love, sweat, and sacrifice make our country run. We are restoring the bonds of loyalty that unite us as Americans. No matter your party, no matter your politics, we are fighting to deliver freedom, justice, and equality to every man, woman, and child in our land. We are fighting to bring opportunity, dignity, and hope.
Trump delivering a message of unity during his first State of the Union address last night.
Owning silence. A CBS News poll shows 3 out of 4 Americans who saw the speech approve of the president's message. Americans who watched say they believe Mr. Trump was trying to unite the country rather than divide it.
How about Pat Buchanan? What do you think of that? Now, he seems to be the guy you'd have to battle.
Well,
today.
that's true. He's anti-Semitic. He's anti-black. He obviously has been having a love affair with Adolf Hitler in some form, and I just can't imagine this guy.
Wait, I don't want you to hold back. Give me how you feel now. I mean, these coy answers.
Based on the events that took place over the weekend in Charlottesville, Virginia, the Department of Justice has opened a civil rights investigation into the deadly car attack that killed one innocent American. Anyone who acted criminally in this weekend's racist violence, you will be held fully accountable. We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence. It has no place in America. We must love each other, show affection for each other, and unite together in condemnation of hatred, bigotry, and violence. We must rediscover the bonds of love and loyalty that bring us together as Americans. Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans. Put out that I reject KKK and David Duke, nobody picks it up. You know why they're not? Because they don't want to pick it up. I don't like any group of hate. Hate groups are not for me. But I've said this before. The press hates me to say it. They just don't want to pick it up.